Welcome to another episode of the Nagual Zone. My name is Anaam, and today I'd like to talk about, I feel all fresh and shaved, just shaved. Saturday is my shaving day. I shave once a week, and that works for me. So I feel really clean and shiny today. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Today, I want to tell you about the only real benefactor that a warrior ever has. The only reliable benefactor that a warrior ever has. And arguably the only. I mean, there is another benefactor, but I call that the warrior's best friend, the warrior's infallible advisor. Different video. So let's talk about, these terms are just ways to correlate in our mind information and experiences and educations that don't get jumbled with other things, so that it's clear and concise and helps us move forward. Okay, so the only real benefactor that a warrior has, anyone really has, what is it? It's life evidence. Life evidence. What do I mean by that? The average man pretty much always lives, or woman pretty much always lives, in a fantasy world that is created in their head. A picture of how they are, a mental picture of who they are, what their name is, their background, this, that, all the rest of it. All this mental movie is being lived out. What I like, what I don't like, and I'm this and I'm that. And invariably, that mental movie, because it is entirely projected by self-importance, entirely, there's no other way to do it, it invariably inflates our sense of self. It is designed to do that. So what happens is we constantly live our lives pretending to be better than we really are. And if you really think about it and notice around you, and especially if you know your family, your spouse, children, whatever, if you really know some human beings very well for a long period of time, you will see, wow, people have different faces, one to themselves, one to the world. A warrior does not have resources to spare for all these shenanigans. His or her energy is far too precious to be frittered away in these futile games that the average man is locked in within themselves. And so the warrior learns, the warrior first knows, because the warrior has trained into becoming an expert hunter of their own self-importance. The warrior understands that he or she cannot trust any mental imagery of themselves. They can't trust what they think about themselves as objective truth. So the only recourse left is now to look at the evidence life is presenting about them. Make sense? The evidence, every day, every hour, life is communicating to everyone. The warrior learns to listen with a dispassionate ear and eyes of no mercy. The warrior has arrived at a place of no pity within themselves. I call it the eyes of no mercy. Because as soon as you start negotiating, being merciful with your self-importance, it has already got what it wants. It has already won. So the warrior learns to look at life evidence. Oh, I think I'm this. Look at the life evidence. What is actual life? What is the evidence life is presenting you? So for example, we have, let's say someone who thinks, if you ask someone, they will say, yeah, I'm a very aware person. I'm a very aware person. Okay, great. And you watch them wash the dishes, or do the cleaning, or do the hoovering around the house. And you start noticing, wow, they missed that corner. They weren't quite thorough there. They didn't quite do a good job there. And they think they're a very aware person, because they've just told me at dinner all about how aware they are and how, switched on they are. Now, a warrior, if that person was a warrior, they would never have that disparity between what is life evidence and what they think of themselves. They would not have that. They would have, through rigorous and painful training, those two would match, so that the warrior learns, the man of knowledge, woman of knowledge, learns to live a life of impeccability, because they are not removed from reality. They have long ago deserted their allegiance to their mental imagery of themselves, and they have bowed their head to serving reality as it is. So the warrior notices, by the way, simply noticing, in this day and age especially, you have this. Hello. Hi. That's what you have. This is the day and age of that. The awareness of the average man is almost entirely taken up by screens. So people just don't notice anything. It's incredible what people don't notice. But you know what? Who notices? Children. They notice everything. Even now, when they're being so corrupted at an early age, with all these screens and iPads and Y pads and B pads and A pads and C pads, whatever the pads are, iPhones, iChildren, they're being made iChildren basically. iChildren. They still retain, because the predator has not eaten up their awareness gradually over their whole life yet. They still retain a lot of their noticing power. And so you gotta enliven your noticing power again. Notice, what are you doing in each moment? What is happening? What was that noise? Is there a temperature change in the room? Notice things. Don't be lost in your head about your own jerk-off circle. Just don't create a little jerk-off circle in your head and live your life that way. You'll have missed everything. Notice things. Notice the creaking of this chair. When you move, notice, clock that. And I'm not saying become some kind of anal maniac about these things. That's not the point. The point is just to become alive again. And if you can't notice, you will not notice the life evidence that is presenting you with a reality check about yourself. Again, I'm kind of, before doing this video, I sat for like 2-3 minutes. I was like, I'd love to give a few examples of concrete examples of life evidence, and what that actually means. When I say that to people, what do I mean by that? But I'm struggling to really put my point across in this video, and I do hope that it's come across in the way that I want it to. If I have any, for me, it's an everyday affair to align to life evidence. For me now, fortunately, because of the hard work of my benefactor and the training I have been so fortunate to receive, I don't struggle with these things anymore. Life rarely catches me in the illusion mode, and especially delusion mode. Illusion is one thing, delusion is a whole different beast, man. And the warrior simply does not have resources to spare to spend their life in delusion. Yes? Exciting news, I am taking on apprentices, so if you are interested, get in touch. If you feel inspired by this material, this topic, it has worked for me. It has changed me from an absolute daydreamer who would not notice anything in life. I was the kind of teenager who would go to the shop and forget to take the change back after, buying something. Totally forget, because I was just completely gone somewhere in my head. I was that kind of teenager. And over the years, now, after almost a lifetime of rigorous and brutal training, scientific, systematic training, I'm a very different person. It's very hard for me to delude myself. And again, there's so much so much material that can be put out in these videos, so much I can talk about, because each topic sparks off another and it's all interrelated. The Toltec system is a very cohesive, enmeshed system, and it is extremely subjective to each person. So the way I train, the way I was trained, my benefactor did not train someone else in the same way. I saw it with my own eyes. I was like, wow, that is a whole totally different ball game going on there. He would tell me to go and look at the Sufi system, or do some Zen, rigorous Zen training with such and such, in such and such method, whatever, or do this or do that, and I would just go on and do it. But he would not be saying that to someone else. So the Toltec system is extremely, it cannot be mass produced. You can't open a university, Toltec university. You can't do that. It has to be individuals working with individuals. It just can't, and it takes a lifetime to master even the basics. It's a beautiful, beautiful system, guys. I love it. I am so fortunate that I just, it makes me feel so great that I have this training behind me, ongoing training, and I love it. That's why I do these videos. So stick around, hit subscribe, like, whatever. Don't like, don't subscribe, I don't care. Get in touch, put a comment below if you agree, disagree, whatever, Walk in freedom, and I shall see you in the next video.